In this video, I'll continue to summarize the quest lore for the Northern Barrens. So if you're like me and you skipped reading the quest while leveling your character, then let's jump in and find out what you missed in World of Warcraft. Before we get started, let's do a little recap of the last episode. Last time we arrived at the crossroads, and were sent on a few quests to check out the different oases in the area. We also dealt with a certain group of centaurs that were living there. In the end, we found out that something is creating life from beneath the Barrens, but we really don't know what that is. But if you'd like to see all these quests in full detail, then go ahead and check this link right over here. Now, let's find out what else is going on in the Barrens. You start off at the crossroads, and run up to Thork. He says that someone named Regthar Deathgate is in charge of dealing with the Centaur activity here in the Northern Barrens, and he wants you to report to him at his outpost along the road to the west of here. So now you head out, heading towards the outpost. Once you arrive, you speak with Regthar Deathgate. He says that he's heard of your work, and that he's got something pretty big planned. He tells you that Hezrule Bloodmark is the leader of the Kolkar Centaurs, and he wants you to kill him, which will greatly disrupt and fracture the Kolkar. But most importantly, Regthar wants you to bring back his head, so that he can mount it from this outpost, which should really freak the centaurs out. While you're down south at the Lushwater Oasis, he also wants you to kill Kolkar Marauders and Stormseers, so that you can collect their bracers, because the ones that wear those bracers keep all the other centaurs in check. So if you take them out, then the Kolkar won't have anyone to lead all the other centaurs. From here, you head out, and make your way towards the Lushwater Oasis. Once you arrive, you kill the centaurs for their bracers, as well as Hezrule for his head. After that, you head out and return back to the outpost, speaking with Regthar once you get there. Now, regarding the bracers, he says that you must have struck fear into the surviving centaurs, and he really hopes that they'll lash out at the horde because they'll be really disorganized and it won't go well for them. As for Hezrule, he commends you, and says that the centaurs can't focus their rage like the orcs can. But in defeating him, you've proven your valor. Which I'm not really a big fan of how that was written, but that's kinda how the quest ends, and it's kind of weird. I feel like they were really reaching for some words there. Most of the time I try to sum things up, but this one I was just like, I don't even know what to say about that one. But now you have another problem. The Kolkar are really upset, and a group of them from Desolace have traveled here to the Barrens, and they're seeking revenge. The report is that they're moving in onto these bunkers from the west. Regthar wants you to kill them until their leader, named Warlord Kromzar, appears. And when he does, defeat him and bring back a piece of his banner as proof that he's dead. So now you head out of the bunker and engage with the invading centaurs, which you end up fighting the warlord and retrieving a piece of his banner. After that, you return to Regthar to report. He says that now you've successfully defeated the Kolkar, and that he'll make sure that Thrall hears about your actions here. Anyways, with this quest completed, you successfully complete the 3rd chapter in the Northern Barrens questline. Whoa. What just happened there? Yeah, I kinda messed up. I just assumed that the quest that we were working on in the last episode was chapter 3. Well, I was way wrong. Apparently the Crossroads is home to both chapter 3 and 4. So the last episode was actually the 4th chapter. My apologies. But now that we've got the real chapter 3 taken care of, let's jump into chapter 5. From here you head out and make your way towards Ratchet. Once you arrive, you speak with Gazrog. He says that he wishes that you were a squad of grunts, but if you've earned Surgra's respect, she's that one orc over at the Crossroads that really didn't trust you at the beginning. Yeah, well anyways, you've earned her respect. And for Gazrog, that means that that's enough for him to trust you. So apparently there was a shipment of silver that was stolen, and that silver was payment for the guards over at the Crossroads. Gazrog says that he's gonna ask around here for some clues, but he wants you to investigate the scene of the crime. To the west of here is a crashed caravan on the north side of the road. He wants you to check it out and try and find out who took the silver. Now you run up to the Broken Keel Tavern and speak with Sasha. She seems really on edge. and tells you to give her the notes from Apothecary Helbrim. He's that Forsaken guy that was over at the crossroads and he was testing all the fungus and all that stuff. But also she asks if you were followed here. All of a sudden, an orc named Hargash appears and demands that the notes be handed over to him. And he kind of reminds you that the war chief doesn't like the Forsaken because of everything that happened over at the Wrathgate, which for those who played Wrath of a Lich King, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So basically he says that you should consider where your loyalties lie. That seemed a bit sketchy. Now you run up to Captain Thalothos Brightsun. That is quite the name. To sum up what he says, a lot of his fleet has been sunk due to the humans of Theramore, and that their rear admiral has parked himself right off the coast over here, and he's sinking anyone that comes nearby. So the captain here wants you to head down the Merchant Coast all the way to the rear admiral's camp, and kill his top lieutenants Pyre and Buckland, along with gathering 10 Theramore medals from Marines or deckhands. Now you run up to Mebok Mizirix, and he tells you about how the raptors here are smarter than other raptors around. But the smartest is their leader named King Reaperclaw. So this guy thinks that their smarts are hiding in their horns. And if you can get King Reaperclaw's horn, then he'll grind it into a powder and make some sort of drink out of it, which will make you smarter. And yeah, this is a bit weird. Anyways, go get the horn so that this goblin here can try and get rich. Now you notice a wanted poster, and it's for a person named Captain J. Garvey of the Maiden's Dagger. He's been charged with basically everything imaginable, and if you can bring back identifiable proof of his death to Gazlowe, then you'll be rewarded. Speaking of Gazlowe, you run up to him, and he tells you that someone named Rear Admiral Hartley sailed into the harbor, and he's been searching and seizing vessels that are flying the Horde colors, with the goal of depriving them of a neutral port. So Gazlowe is losing profit because of this. And because of that, he wants you to get the schematics of Hartley's flagship. Currently, Hartley's chief engineer is getting drunk at the Broken Keel Tavern, which is just up the hill from here. You actually were there just a little while ago. So it's possible that this chief engineer might have the schematics to the ship, and then we'll find out what Gazlowe wants to do with him once you get him. But before you go, Gazlowe mentions someone named Baron Longshore, and this pirate was the terror of these waters. Well, that was before the Alliance demolished his fleet, but basically he stole a lot from Gazlowe, and supposedly he buried the treasure right before he was captured. Currently, he's being held by the Alliance just to the south of here. So if you can, find him and see if you can get the location of where Gazlowe's stuff is. Lastly, you run up to Wharf Master Dizzywig, and he says that Gazlowe promised him a promotion if he could help him with Ratchet's pirate problem. Mostly, it's the Buccaneers over at Frey Island, and basically they need to be taken out. So while you're over there hunting down Captain Garvey, kill 8 South Sea cutthroats or privateers. Also, since Captain Garvey is attacking any vessel in sight, we really need to mess things up over on that island. Now, Dizzywig knows a guy who happens to be Captain Garvey's lieutenant, and he's up for planning a mutiny. So when you're on the island, look for Tony Two Tusk. Before we continue, I'd like to remind you that if you're enjoying this content, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new episode or even when I go live. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, then you can check out my Patreon link down below. This month, I'm happy to give away a new desktop background, which is completely rendered in Unreal Engine at a resolution of 16K. They're super detailed, and if you'd like more information on how to get that, you can go check out my Patreon link down below. And let's get back to the quest lore. So from here, let's head north and start working our way down the line. First, you hunt and kill King Reaperclaw for his horn. Then you head south and come across the caravan that had the stolen silver. You notice that the caravan was not only just robbed, but it was brutalized. A lot of the crates have been ripped apart, and there's a good amount of claw marks everywhere. The silver's gone, the food has been eaten, but all of the other useful supplies didn't get stolen. You also notice that animal tracks surround the wreckage. After a while, you come to the conclusion that it was raptor riders. But the impressions aren't deep, and there aren't any non-animal tracks in the area. But good news is these tracks head northeast from here. So you might as well go ahead and take a look. Now you head out. And when you reach the northwestern area, you find an entire community of raptors. And oddly enough, they're making huts. which happens to be surrounded by a bunch of shiny things, which most likely is the stolen silver. So in order to teach them a lesson, you kill 8 Sunscale Ravagers and 4 of the Sunscale Scythe Claws. Then you find and retrieve the silver. After that, you make your way all the way back to Ratchet and head into the Broken Keel Tavern. Once inside, you speak with Chief Engineer Foot. Well, you rather club him on the head until he falls unconscious, which provokes his shipmates to fight you, and you have no choice but to pretty much kill them. And once that's done, you rummage through Foot's pockets and find the schematics to the flagship. Once that's done, you leave the tavern and make your way south. But along the way, you're ambushed by Theramore's commandos. And after fighting them, you're able to loot a good majority of the medallions that you needed. Now you arrive at the camp on the Merchant Coast, and kill any Marines or deckhands to finish off the medallions that you didn't get from the commandos. Then you find and kill Lieutenant Pyre and Buckland. After that, you make your way all the way over across the water to Frey Island. So that's where I'm gonna have to cut it off for this episode. Ratchet ended up being a very, very long area pertaining to the quest lore. I have a lot of other editing projects that I'm working on with other clients right now, so I'm going to get you guys part 2 next week. But I do want to thank the Patreon subscribers for supporting this channel. Every donation that you guys make really does help out a lot, and I really, really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to help out and support the channel, then go ahead and check out the Patreon link down below. And with that, we'll see you guys next week for part 2 as we find out what happens next in the Tales of Azeroth.